Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week's video is going to be a very chill video where I talk about unpopular and popular movie opinions that nobody asked for. So stay tuned and get ready to feel triggered, or don't feel triggered, because I will fully state this now. These are all my opinions, so let's get with the video. To start, my first unpopular opinion is that Disney/Pixar movies are okay. Personally, for me, growing up, I never really watched Disney movies. If I list the amount of Disney movies that I've actually not seen, a lot of people will be very upset because it's a lot of the classics. Like, I've not seen Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Mulan, Aladdin, Hercules, Sleeping Beauty. I have seen Snow White, and Snow White sucks. That's just my opinion. But I just never really liked princess movies, or I'm just not really a big fan of animation though. I'm gonna be real, I'm just not a big fan of it. It's not like I'm a big fan of it, I just think it's fine to me. I like live action. That's where I feel like a lot of stuff is. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a really good animated film when I've seen one, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That movie is probably one of my favorite movies of 2018, and it deserved the Oscar, and it got the Oscar. That's just it. And Pixar films also, I just haven't really seen, my favorite Pixar movie is The Incredibles, you know, but I don't know, it's just, I saw Toy Story for the first time last month, and it was very predictable, really corny, and it was just fine. It was just okay. And I don't have any interest on watching any of the live action Disney remakes. I don't care enough. My second unpopular/popular movie opinion is Mission Impossible is the best consistent movie franchise out there. Now, I don't know if anyone's really big into spy films or action films, but Mission Impossible, it's pretty good. I really like Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. But I will admit, when it comes to this franchise, this is his baby. So he wants all the special effects, all the real life action. The fact that in the most recent Mission Impossible film that came out, I think last year, he literally jumped out of a plane, the cinematographer was there with him, and he was doing that at 55. There's this clip where he says, I hope that he does this film in his wheelchair, and I hope so too, because I don't know how each film gets better, per film. Ever since the fourth one just keeps getting better and better, stakes are higher and higher, and they're doing crazier shit. And Tom Cruise is really the selling point, but of course Simon Pegg, he's amazing in that film. He's really funny. He's obviously the comic relief of the whole franchise. He's great. Luther, he's really fun. He's a sly dude, but he knows his shit, and he's just so super duper cool. And I just really like this film series. And let's not forget the score. I mean, it's so iconic. Bum 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 bum. Don't mind me. But if you do actually like the score, I think it's the Tokyo Kosai Orchestra did a recording of it. It's really good. It's phenomenal. If you really like movie scores, I would go check that one out. My third popular/unpopular opinion is, I don't even really think it's unpopular, but Parasite deserved the Oscar. Now, this year, the Oscars was held on my birthday, and I actually had an Oscars-themed birthday party. I had printouts for everyone. I watched at least probably 75% of the movies even nominated this year, which was... It was okay nominations. There were a lot of snubs. Dolomite's My Name should have got nominated, and he got snubbed. A lot of female directors got snubbed. The Farewell, Lulu Wang, Awkwafina, Hustlers, Jennifer Lopez should have got nominated. A lot of female directed led movies got snubbed this year. But Parasite won 4 of the major awards. They won for Best Foreign Film, they won Best Director, they won Best Screenplay, and then they won Best Picture. And there was a hate train going on for it, and I'm just why? Because for me, when I tell you I saw Parasite the week before the Oscars, because it finally went to renting, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just rent a movie because I always rent movies off of YouTube because they're cheap. So if you're looking at a better alternative to rent movies, rent on YouTube. Most of the time they're between $2 and $5. It's not bad. And I watched it, and this whole time I avoided every single video essay out there. I like all my favorite YouTubers I watch, all their video essays I skipped. I'm like, no, I have to watch the movie first. So I watched the movie, and I was completely blown away. This movie was amazing, and if any of you guys are I'm subs over dubs all day, every day, I would rather see the movie in its original language, and this movie is South Korean, so it's in Korean. And I mean, talk about a midpoint in this movie. The midpoint hits, because honestly, once the midpoint hits, it's a completely different movie. And you know, the different things they talk about, you know, classism, social, like class warfare, and everything like that. And it was really good. The cinematography was great. I've actually seen a couple different video essays about the architecture of the movie and how it really plays well, and it works. It's just like the slightest things, but they make the biggest difference. And the acting also, I think his name is Kang Soo-jo. I think that's his name. I know his first name's Kang, but he played the dad on The Poor Family. He should have got at least a nomination because he was great. Like, the acting in this movie was phenomenal. Everything about it was great. The music, the acting, the cinematography, the directing. It deserved Best Picture. And it's like, I mean, if anyone has ever seen any of Bong Joon-ho's other films, personally, my other favorite film that he's done is Snowpiercer. That movie was amazing. Plus, Chris Evans was in it, and he's a hottie. But, like, long story short, Parasite deserved the Oscar, and I've already seen this film 3 times. It's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, it's streaming on there. Go watch it. Subs over dubs. You will thank me later. My next unpopular/popular movie opinion is the original Star Wars series is overrated. This year, while we're in glorious quarantine, me and my boyfriend decided to watch the original Star Wars, and he already seen it, so he was rewatching it, but I'm like, I've never seen it, so let's like plan a cute little date night and watch it. And A New Hope was really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I think the best thing about that movie is the pacing. The pacing is really good. Like, everything flows out. All the events that happen are like meant to happen. It kind of flows that way, and it made sense to me, and it worked. I really liked it. Darth Vader was kind of barely around. He was really barely around. Han Solo, young Harrison Ford can get it, but he was good too. But I just think like the action and Luke's story was really good. I really enjoyed it. Now the next 2 movies, not so much. I think The Empire Strikes Back, it was really boring. Like, the first half of the movie, nothing really happens. Like nothing really happens. Like, I can't even really remember what happens. I had actually I was gonna make this a whole other video, but so much time had passed. But it was very slow, and it was just too slow for me. And then Luke was trying to get his revenge on Darth Vader, and then Leia and Han Solo had their own thing, their whole I love you but I don't want a minute thing going on, and I'm just like, okay. And C-3PO is a whiny person. He whines too much. Too much. He whined every single time he was on screen, he was whining about something, and C-3PO was a sassy person. And then when it comes to Return of the Jedi, I mean, that whole intro of C-3PO and RG-T2 trying to get Han back, going to Jabba the Hutt, that whole the best thing about that whole beginning sequence was the singing number that happened in the middle of it. That was great. That actually was I'm like, okay, yes. But the first 40 minutes, I felt like that could have been cut or at least shortened or something, because it was just really hard to follow. I just felt like they were doing a whole bunch of other shit. And then, what's his face? The guy that portrayed Han, I can't remember his name. But then him being like, gun-ho, and I'm gonna save Han, and da-da-da. I'm like, if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't have been captured in the first place. But, okay. A New Hope was great. Return of the Jedi and Return of the Empire were boring and overrated, and honestly, it was just very disappointing. I started The Phantom Menace, but like I said, it's so boring, and I only got like 30 minutes into it before I'm like, I want to stop. So, we'll see if I ever get finished with the rest of Star Wars. We'll see. My next unpopular opinion / popular opinion is that Sense8 from Netflix was their best show, period. Now, this show was only on for 2 seasons and a movie, and it really saddened me because this show was the best. It was the best show. I mean, it was produced and directed by the Wachowskis, and it was pretty much a sci-fi, drama, crime piece, adventure, a whole bunch of genres into one. And if for anyone who doesn't know what Sense8's about, it's pretty much about a group of Sense8s, like, that's actually their name. And it's a group of 8 of them that are linked together, so like they pretty much can feel, touch, listen, talk to each other through anywhere. And it's 8 people from Germany, the US, Britain, India, Nigeria. I think that's it. 5 countries, but it was 8 people. And South Korea and Mexico. And the characters were great. 2 of them were from America. One was from Chicago. One was from LA. One was a cop. One was a artist. The other one was a DJ. Another one was literally a criminal. Like, he was a criminal, worked for a crime boss. One worked at a South Korean, like, very CEO, big company. Like, she was like rich. Her family was rich. One was a bus driver. And then one was pretty much a socialite, actually, like a socialite, really. And who was a biologist. She was a biologist. I can't remember. But this show was, I literally rewatched the show at least 2 or 3 times already. And I think what was great about the show is how inclusive it was, because the character from LA was a trans woman. And she was actually portrayed by a trans woman. So, that's really good for TV. It was very, like, had a lot of people of color in it. They filmed on real locations, so they were all over these countries. And the story was just very captivating because I love mysteries. I'm a big fan of mysteries, and pretty much there's a big conspiracy in the show about how this group of people, these high group of people, I forget their name, we're gonna call them Corporation X because I can't remember their name. But they pretty much knew who all these Sense8s were, and they're gonna kill them basically. And one guy named Jonas went to a cop, Will. He went to him and said, hey, there's 7 people like you, and there's a corporation that's out to kill you, so you should go kill them first. And then dips. And he's just like, what? And then they all meet, and then, I'm not gonna lie, the best thing about these series, honestly, one of the my favorite parts of the series is the orgy scenes. I'm gonna be real. Like, I myself, when it comes to my sexuality, I'm a very open person. Like, if you talk to me in a private setting, I will tell you everything. And I'm not polyamorous. I'm very monogamous. I have a boyfriend. But I think sex is a whole thing. I don't know. I get that whole free feeling, that connection with people. Like, I get it. And I think the way it's portrayed in this show through all the Sense8s, because since they all pretty much connect with each other, like with one of them or 2 of them or 3 of them are having sex with their partners, they all feel it, and even their partners feel it, so it's even more intense. And I don't know, I kind of like how that was kind of portrayed, and personally I liked it. I liked it. But enough about that. But just overall, Sense8 was canceled too early. I love that show. I'm glad we got a movie finale to end it all, and I really hope another show like that comes about. I know the show Dark on Netflix, it's from Germany. I heard that show is really good, and I started to watch it and I stopped, and now I want to go back and watch it because I've heard great stuff about it. And it's kind of like the same, like, not the same, but almost kind of like Stranger Things, how like the parallel Earths or timelines, they all converge or something like that. But if you haven't seen Sense8, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. My next popular / unpopular opinion is international film is probably the most underrated style of film, and honestly, the best, in my opinion. Now, I'm in college right now. I'm going into my 5th year of college at the Ohio State University, and I'm a film studies major. So I only switched majors once. The average times is actually 4 in college. But I was actually undecided my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I was a social studies education major. In my junior year I switched to OSU and I became a film studies major. So one of the big classes, or a big group of classes that I have to take, is international film. And it's not one class. It's very like centralized. So I took Chinese film, I took modern international film, I took classic French cinema, I took intro to world cinema, I took modern world cinema, intro to world cinema. I've taken a lot of film classes, and even just like base film classes, and I've been introduced to a lot of different films from different countries, mostly France, but France, Germany, Britain, Zimbabwe, Senegal, China, South Korea, Brazil, Canadian. I've seen a lot of international film, even outside of like school. And I think just what I've learned about international film is that, honestly, compared to American directors, mostly international directors, they honestly take more risks. Like the style or theme or topic of films that they decide to discuss are very controversial, or very they're very taboo. You don't really see a lot of poignant films that are kind of talking about popular topics like at the time, which is really interesting. Personally, like, I think a couple of my favorite international films, I love Cleo de Saint Cassette, directed by Agnes Varda, who passed away actually like 2 years ago. But she was a big director in the French New Wave in the 60s. And I've seen already 3 of her films, and she's amazing. Like, that film I really enjoyed because, like, when we watched it in class, I was like going through like kind of like a health scare, because I've been really been pointing about my health and like getting myself together, obviously. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm young, but you know, I still want to be aware and then, you know, get healthy. And that's what Clea was dealing with in the movie, and she was almost getting gaslit, and she was kind of a vain person, but then at the end she, you know, realized that not a lot of people even get to live as long as she does, because in the movie there was the Algerian War's going on, and she meets a soldier and talks to him, and her perspective changes. And I really enjoyed that movie. I love that movie. There's another movie, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Even the Rain. Even the Rain, I think, is an Argentinian movie. And it's pretty much about this Mexican filmmaker who goes to Brazil and is making a film based on like Christopher Columbus and his exploits, like against a specific like indigenous people. And at the same time this movie or this film is happening, the water wars in Bolivia, that's where it's when Bolivia is happening at the same time. And the main protester for the water wars is in their film as the leader of this indigenous people. So it's kind of like those like parallel lines going at the same time. And that was a really good movie. I can't remember the title of it, but there's this other movie, I think it's based in Sweden or Germany, and it was pretty much about this woman who's going to get an abortion during communist Russia time. And that movie was, interesting. This girl pretty much had to get sexually assaulted just to get this abortion, and it was so sad, but it was very like poignant. Like, these movies just hit on a different level. I really do feel like they hit, and a lot of people don't even watch international films because of the language barrier. And like I said earlier, I am subs over dubs all days of the week. You will get a better reaction if you're listening in their native language, in my opinion. Like, and some people are just very ignorant like that, which is unfortunate, because I'm telling you, these filmmakers know what they're doing, and I hope that one day I'm inspired by these filmmakers to make my own films and learn from them. And they're really amazing, and I hope people really go out and search for more international filmmakers, because they're really making some good stuff right now. My next popular/unpopular opinion is that Bring It On Again, the second movie in the Bring It On franchise, is the most underrated film and my favorite personally. Now, when it comes to this movie, not a lot of people like it. They're like, this movie's just dumb, this is the worst one. I said, no, friend, it's not the worst one. Pretty much in Bring It On Again, it's the same plot, cheerleaders dealing with other cheerleaders, but I think it's actually different because if you really think about it, Bring It On Again sets the standard, if you think about it. Because in the first movie, you know, you had Torrance dealing with a whole bunch of culture appropriation with her last team captain who's stealing teams from the Compton Clovers, and then Gabrielle Union is like, we're gonna beat you at nationals, so bring it. And then they won. Spoiler alert. So they gotta deal with all that. But in the second movie, not Torrance, Whittier, first of all, who names their kid Whittier? I'll wait. But Whittier basically goes to college, she's a freshman in college, and she's decided to join the cheer squad because they're really renowned in the Central State area or whatever in California. And honestly, I think it's kind of like also a bit of a satire if you really think about it, because Whittier's best friend is a black girl named Monica, and you know, like, yeah, she kind of fits the whole black best friend role. But at the same time, like, Monica was just badass, and she really was just like, no, fuck you, you messed up, I ain't talking to you. And didn't talk to her. Like, there's some things that just were very different. Like, and also, I just think the fact that they're all in college and they're all acting like high schoolers in a full is what kills me, because they're all supposed to be in their early 20s. Like, Tina is at least supposed to be, what, 22, 23, and she's acting like a 13-year-old. We see right through you, Tina. But, I mean, if you really think about it, this was the film that started the mashup squad. I mean, Whittier really went out and got, you know, the drama club, the ballet club, the fencing club. Like, she really got everyone out. And I know they did that in the first movie with different styles, but that's different because in the second movie they actually had different groups of people, not just the styles. And then once that was introduced, that's pretty much prominent throughout the rest of the franchise. Like, they brought that in, the whole, like, boosting everyone up, you know, like, just Bring It On Again does not get the recognition it does. Like, and honestly, I think out of the comedy, I think it's the funniest out of all the films. Like I said, I feel like there's a little bit of satire in it, but it's funny. Like, these moments are funny, and it's not like not just cringy funny, but the humor is just poignant and it's on the nose, and I like it. And there's some throwback moments in that, like when Monica and Whittier are talking to Tina, and I don't remember her little lackey's name, and they're literally having like kind of like a rhyme off the day before the competition. They get into that fight. Like, iconic moments. That movie is underrated. Go watch it again. Come back to this video and tell me you don't think it's underrated, or you still think it's the worst one, because it's not. It's not. I rest my case.